Hello and welcome to your show 31 Minutes. This is Maha Rais from AUC Studios. AUC alumni always give back to their community with various projects. Today we are going to feature one of such figures, Rania Hussein Amin, where she will be talking more about her current and upcoming projects. But let us see what we are having for today. The International Day is an annual celebration in AUC, but Centennial International Day celebration was much more different. Sherihan Al-Azazi has more to say.
International Day has been very important for AUC, including the fact that it's on our calendar because we want all students to celebrate different cultures and to celebrate the fact that at AUC we have a good number of international students from countries all over the world.
احنا اليوم مشاركين مع طلاب فلسطين بالجامعة الأمريكية في يوم الشعوب أو يوم الجاليات، وفرصة إن احنا بنتعرف على ثقافات الدول المشاركة، واحنا من خلال معرضنا البسيط المصغر بنعرض بعض الأبعاد المختلفة لقضيتنا الفلسطينية.
I am Cyrus Agri-Rhyme and he's Abdul Bari Yakublari from Ghana presenting these artifacts on AUC International Day.
Hello, I'm Hiroko. I'm from Japan, Tokyo. Then I'm presenting Japanese calligraphy in Japanese verse.
Today we're celebrating International Day. So I'm here to celebrate my culture, to celebrate humanity, to celebrate life. I'm from the southern part of the country. So over there, we, the men, have to wear beads. We have our dresses and the wrappers. Unlike other places, men don't wear trousers, we wear wrappers. So I have my church, and I have my shiny clothes here, and my beads too. Now the beads symbolizes prestige. The number of beads you have, the higher your rank.
AUC as a global institution and a global university needs to show its international component as much as it can. And I think that having students from so many different countries and they're being able to present their culture, their way of dress, their traditional way of dress, I should say, their food, their dance, all the things that make them unique and special and proud. I think that's a wonderful element to provide to AUC. I really feel that when I'm inside the AUC campus, it's almost like being in an airport somewhere in the middle of Dubai, Singapore, Frankfurt, or New York, because there's so many different people from so many different places.
Yeah, congratulations to everybody. Mabruk, welcome to AUC, Egypt's Global University. Let's have a great evening together.
Celebrating the International Day this year had a different spirit for the whole AUC community, as the centennial celebrations are still ongoing. It was held at night to make sure that everyone can participate and celebrate the different cultures taking place. This was Sherihan Al-Azazi, AUCTV News.
AUC is not only celebrating its centennial, but is celebrating the 1919 Revolution Centennial too. More about this celebration in the upcoming report with Laila Umara.
As part of the Centennial Celebrations program, AUC hosted a day for celebrating Egypt's 1919 Revolution. In the Oriental Hall, where all important dialogues take place, 3 keynote speakers gave their speeches about this revolution. دكتور محمد أبو الغار.
كل حتة في العالم تاني يوم التسويق ده وبقى لنا وزير خارجية.
The granddaughter of هدى شعراوي سناء شعراوي
يتدخلنا في أمور الحروب.
and دكتور مصطفى الفقي.
يعني سيبك بقى من سيد درويش والقصائد والحاجات والاغاني انما انعكست في الحركه الادبيه والفكريه. يعني يجب ان نعترف ان احمد لطفي السيد وطه حسين وتوفيق الحكيم وسلامه موسى كلهم بشكل او باخر نتاج مناخ ثوره 19.
كذلك اشعار بقى الخيال والابداع المصري في الروايه، في المسرح، في الشعر. واحنا ما زلنا مدينين لثورة 19 بكل النهضة الثقافية التي نهنا بها إلى الآن. وهنسمع النهارده طبعا يعني روائع سيد درويش.
The event continued with Iskandarella Band performing in the Ewart Hall.
احنا العرباجية يهومين بنشوف ظلم وتلطيم عقبال اللايمين كل الناس فشلها يا فندي رايحين جايين اللي احنا نفضل بالعشر ساعات قاعدين.
ده حفلة لتتويج البروجكت كنا بنعمله بقالنا حوالي 5 شهور أو 6 شهور، اللي هو احنا جمعنا الأغاني اللي كانت موجودة في الفترة ما بين 1915 لحد 1919 اللي كانت بتعبر عن الثورة ساعتها، وقعدنا تنفيذها وعملنا لنا أركايفنج ليها وعملنا إحياء للتراث ليها.
The night ended with the singing of the AUC alumni Nisma Mahgoub that reflected the vibes of the 1919 revolution. This is Laila Umora for AUCTV.
The digital chessboard was the theme of the Journalism and Mass Communication Department Media Forum. Let's see what has taken place over there.
Like any profession, there are the good and the bad.
As part of its 10-year celebrations, the School of Global Affairs and Public Policy in AUC organized the Media Forum, discussing the impact of the current digital era on journalism practices, describing the media scene as a digital chessboard.
ومدير مركز كمال أدم للصحافة التلفزيونية بالجامعة الأمريكية. أهلا وسهلا يا دكتور. This forum comes with the centennial of the AUC and the 10 years of the GAP school. We are celebrating both occasions together, and because GRMC is one of the oldest departments, journalism departments in the Middle East, we are bringing professionals and academics in order to talk about the latest technologies and the latest trends in the media. We had this chess, the icon of the chess, and the shadow of the chess is the digital, because it is the digital platforms and you don't know who's going to be that game changer very soon.
Top national and international media entities participated in the 3 panel discussions, such as the head of DMC Channel Network, Hisham Sulaiman, spokesperson of Al Ahli Sporting Club, Sherif Fouad, representatives of the Higher Press Council, BBC, Reuters, Cairo Review, and others.
المشكلة الثانية التعامل مع هذه الأخبار الزائفة، وأنا شايف إن إحنا لم نفعل شيء في هذا الموضوع حتى الآن.
It's a pivotal moment for this forum to be held because there are several dangers and threats to the journalism industry, such as fake news, the fact that special interests are intervening and creating their own channels and their own networks. We seem to be moving away from the principles that have made journalism so needed. So while journalism used to defend democratic institutions, now journalism has to defend itself from some of the fake news, racism, etc. that we see on social media.
AUC, and specifically the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, has been at the forefront of teaching upcoming journalists, upcoming media experts, and the industry what's going to happen in the future. Many of the stars of the Egyptian and Arab media are graduates of that department in particular.
This forum gave the opportunity for students for more exposure and for faculty members to interact with industry experts and for industry experts to know more about what's happening here at AUC. Maha Rayes, AUCTV. AUC community needs easy and accessible ways to get updated with news. That's why podcasts became the newest way to meet that demand. More about these podcasts in the next report with Hussein Al-Mu'taz.
School of Global Affairs and Public Policy GAP usually supports students to produce new media platforms to serve AUC community. One of the new features is produced by The Caravan, which is a weekly podcast produced by Caravan students that wraps up what is happening in AUC.
We are going to build on the topics that are of concern to the AUC community. We are going to see what are the main topics that concern the students, and we are going to make the format itself suitable for the usage of the students.
The main aim of the podcast is to provide AUC community an easy and accessible floor to access news. As a part of their learning experience, students do brainstorm, produce, and edit the shows by themselves. Although it is one of the oldest media tools, radio has become a trend again. That's why AUC Journalism and Mass Communication Department works on developing audio production skills in their students.
Black bulging eyes with a really creepy smile, a very big one, and it pops in
the students do their weekly rundown shows in real audio production studio to discuss interesting topics in science, entertainment, and main community concerns.
And we can be listening to these podcasts and gaining information about the AUC community, about different programs or guests and lectures that are on campus, activities. And the barrier to entry is really low, meaning what it takes to produce a podcast. Really, you can do it on your mobile if you really don't have a lot of equipment. But the equipment isn't too expensive, and it's not such a large investment financially to obtain some decent equipment. And then the time, it doesn't take a lot of time.
Moreover, the Kamal Adham Center for TV and Digital Journalism has produced a series of podcasts for their annual publication, Arab Media and Society. This reflects that podcasts are perfect media channels that smooth out the information delivery to the receiver, despite the type of the content. That's why broadcasting AUC podcasts has become a must.
I would just recommend putting a portal together or creating a network. So you can call it the AUC Podcast Network, and maybe every school or every department could have something, and some of the student organizations could have a podcast. And then you put them all on a particular website or a portal where it's really easy to locate them in one place.
GAP faculty, students, and staff work together to produce a very high-quality media service to AUC community. From AUCTV, Hussein Al-Mu'taz.
March is the month of women. That's why women accomplishments should be highlighted. Basanta Gayar has more in her report about such a successful figure, Maya Morsi.
I studied in St. Mary's School. It's a nuns school for 10 years. Then left to have my GCE at this stage, which was the fashionable thing. Entered AUC, and I was very young when I entered AUC. I was around 15, 16 years old. I've done my double masters. I've done a master in public administration and another master in business administration from City University in Seattle. I had a challenge to do my PhD in Egypt in Arabic, and this was a big challenge to have all the thinking in Arabic. And I have done my PhD with the Institute of Arab Studies that's related to the League of Arab States, and the supervision was from the Cairo University, a great professor, Dr. Naveen Mossad. I have done my thesis in public policies and women human security in the Arab region, and my case study was Egypt. The first day I entered to the United Nations, I didn't know anyone. I knocked the door and I told them that I want to be an intern. I entered and I started being an intern for 2 years, not paid, and I got to learn from the archiving to the policy making. I have done facilitation in the Arab Academy for Technology, Maritime and Technology, and I have done training as a professional trainer as well. Serving when I left the United Nations to the National Council for Women, this is where I saw the shift. Sometimes when we are working in the UN, we are suggesting policies, we're suggesting ideas, we're suggesting things, but when you work on the ground, you see that not usually what you write on paper is fitting the right process or the right action plan. You should really go down and see what is happening on the ground and really plan better for the sake of the people and for the sake of the women.
Stay tuned for our interview with Rania Hussein Amin after the break. Our guest for today is AUC alumni. Although she studied psychology, but she is actually known as an award-winning children's book author and illustrator. She is also the daughter of a famous and influential intellectual family. With us today, Rania Hussein Amin. Rania, welcome to AUC.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be back to school?
Great. I love this place. Yeah.
Especially that we are currently celebrating the 100 years. So did you get the chance to participate or attend any of the centennial events that are going on?
Yes, actually I attended the party in Tahrir and I loved it. It was great.
So you are the granddaughter of Ahmed Amin, the Egyptian historian and writer, and the daughter of Hussein Amin, who is of course a great writer and thinker, and also your uncle Jalal Amin, that we lost recently, was a great economist and commentator. So is it a bless or a burden to be a daughter of such a powerful family, improving yourself?
I'm sure it's a blessing because I learned a lot from them, and I felt like it was the natural thing to do, to write. It's not really a burden because I'm writing in a different field, so I'm not comparing in any way. I know they are really great people and I wish to be like them one day, but I'm doing something different, writing for children. It's totally different, but yeah, it's still writing. Yeah.
And why did you choose writing for children in specific?
I started out writing for adults. I wrote short stories and I really liked it. I published in magazines. But when I had my daughter, I got a lot of ideas that I wanted to write for children. I'm very much interested in parenting and the psychology of children. And this is why I got into writing children's books.
And you had the chance to write for parents as well?
I did. I wrote a book called والكثير من الحب about parenting, and it was a bit of a challenge for me because I wanted it to be read, actually, because I know very few people read nowadays. So I did it in a different way, in a comics form, and I put a lot of my own experiences as a child into it. So I wrote a lot of short stories about myself and added it in the book in form of comics. And yeah.
Is it easier to write for children or for adults?
Actually, it depends on the person who's writing. Yeah, for some people, it's easier to write for adults. For some people, it's easier to write for children. If you can connect to your inner child, then it's easy to write for children. If you can go back in memories and remember your childhood and remember your feelings as a child and your thoughts at that time, yeah, you can write for children. But for some people, it's easier to write their thoughts and feelings now, and it's not that easy for them to go back.
Okay, so the main character you created was Farhana in the children's books. It was a series of stories. Why did you choose to create her as a girl?
Mainly because I'm interested in parenting. When I used to take my daughter to the club and we used to sit with parents, a lot of them had daughters, and I noticed how many mothers and fathers keep their daughter from moving around freely or tell her not to talk that loud. And I noticed that there were more restrictions on girls than on boys. Boys were allowed to do these, to climb, to do things girls didn't do that much. So this is when I felt I wanted to create a character who's free, who is spontaneous, who is a normal child, and she's herself. She doesn't want any kinds of restrictions, and this is how Farhana came to life. And even her, the way she looked was totally free with her curly hair and very simple dress. She walks barefoot, so. Yeah.
And without a dress as well, because in one of your books she took off her dress, and that was a big problem for you, and you faced some allegations in the court. So can you please tell us more about this experience?
Yeah, actually when I wrote this book I meant it to be just funny, you know, and it was based on my own experiences as a child, because I didn't like those fancy dresses. I didn't like going to weddings because of that, and for me it was very uncomfortable. So it was just a funny story about a girl whose parents wanted to take her to the wedding, and she wore that dress, put her hair up, and you know, those tight shoes and stuff, and she then started taking off piece by piece until she arrived to the wedding wearing only her underwear, and that was it. For a child, I think it would be funny, but then I was really surprised when it all ended up this way. The book was chosen for a few books for the USAID. They chose a few books, and it was distributed widely in schools. And the publisher, who I will not name, it's not a well-known publisher. He went to court.
And he filed the case?
He filed the case. So, yeah, they investigated it. And I was really, I just told them, this book is for children. Children don't have dirty minds. Like, they were asking me why I am encouraging American values. And really, yeah.
And how did it end up?
Nothing. Thank God, nothing happened.
Okay, thanks God.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, how do you think the status of Egyptian children literature works in Egypt?
How it's being okay. Until now, yeah, it's not that great. Not many kids read. Not many parents buy books for children, especially Arabic books, because parents who can afford to buy books mainly buy books in English, because they want to improve the language of the children, as if books are just language. And to be honest, yes, foreign books might have a better quality than Arabic books, but now this was the case in the past more. Now books are, the quality of books is getting better and better.
What do you mean by the quality of books?
Quality of printing, quality of writing, quality of illustration.
For everything.
For everything. And I really wish parents would look better and look in bookstores and have a better look and find those books, because they exist. Yeah, in the past they did not exist much, but now there are some good books.
But this is more of a consumer perspective. What about a writer perspective? Other writers, are they influencing children in a good way, or what do you think?
We have a few good writers, but just a few. Yeah, I think we could say we have 7 to 10 good writers, and there are a lot of writers who need to do a bit more effort to learn their job better.
Okay. With regards to the Egyptian kid, in recent years, what do you think of the Egyptian kid in recent years from behavioral and cognitive way? Is it easy to impact them positively?
Easy in what way?
You are trying to send certain messages to the kids through your books, and other means of communication are always available to him. The book is not the main source of learning new things. So how do you think that we can approach?
Actually, through a book, it's much easier to teach the child good values, because through a book, the child learns while he's being entertained, while he's happy. Because the happiest time for a child is when he sits in his mother's lap and the mother tells him a story. And through a book, he can learn all kinds of values, he can learn all kinds of information, he can learn languages, he can learn how to communicate and how to discuss things. So through a book, actually a child learns a lot. He can learn everything through books. So parents still don't know the power of books, and they take their children to different classes, or they have hopes that the schools would teach him this and that, but they don't know that it's all in their hands and their power to teach the child everything they want to teach. Yeah, and to make the child a better person, who is more empathetic, who understands people better, who's more loving, more kind. All this you can learn through the book. Yeah.
Okay, so you obtained many prizes. It was a lot. First prize for A Scream Behind Doors, أو صراخ خلف الأبواب.
Yes.
Okay, for young adults in 2016, and you got كتابي prize from الفكر العربي for writing and illustration of When the Bird Discovered Its Wings in 2013, and you also got a prize from Arab Thought Foundation on Farhana and A Special Friend in 2012. So you are award-winning writer. So my question is, what's next? What do you have as a goal, and what is your optimum thing to achieve?
I will continue writing for children. I have started writing for young adults, and this was something I wanted to do a long time ago, and I have published 2 new books called برا الدايرة and ورق قناع. My dream is to start publishing books in Ammiya, in spoken Arabic, spoken Egyptian, because I believe a book has to be in the language of the child. He has the right to have a book as a friend who speaks his own language. So I understand the dilemma and the people who are against it, saying that he will get confused because in school he will learn a language, and books will, if they have books in Ammiya, it will be a totally different language. But if we write books in Ammiya for very young ages, for the mothers to read to them, I think this is important. And starting maybe 8 years old, the child will not confuse the 2 languages. He can start reading in colloquial Arabic.
In general, you are writing for an age range from
0 to 16.
Okay.
I
did
books.
Why Ammiya in specific for young age?
For a very young age, because the mother doesn't. I tried reading books in Arabic for my daughter, and it was a lot of effort to translate from Fusha to Ammiya. This is why I felt it would have been much better if it was in Ammiya and in a real nice language that the child would like.
Okay,
yeah.
Other than writing and illustration, what are other activities that you are doing in order to reach this goal?
I read a lot about parenting. I give parenting sessions. This is also a passion of mine. Right now I'm I have started writing scripts, movie scripts for young adults and also plays for children. So I'm expanding a bit my area.
Movies or cartoons?
No, not cartoons. Movies.
Okay.
Yes, this has also been a dream of mine. So
okay.
I'm learning and I'm writing. And
what do you have different to present in these movies?
Real life stories and things for young adults that we don't have. Yeah, because this age is a very, very important age to write for, because they are lost, they're confused, and they you know, a lot of them go through depressions nowadays, especially. So I think we need to talk about those kinds of problems.
Okay, if there is anyone in AUC community who dreams or wants to be a writer or illustrator, what tips do you have for them?
Number one, read a lot, write a lot in the field you want to write in. If you want to write for children, read a lot, many books for children. Write about your passion. This is if you are passionate about nature, for example, write books about nature. So if you're talking about books for children, you have to be very honest with yourself and look deep inside yourself, understand yourself as a child, why you behaved the way you did, why you thought the way you did, and write your diaries. From the diaries you can find a lot of ideas, and read about child psychology.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Rania. It was a pleasure having you today.
Thank you, Maha. Thank you.
That was our interview with the writer and AUC alumni, of course, Rania Hussein Amin. Thanks for watching and see you next show.